New year, new Suns. Let's go. Let's put 2022 behind us. Okay, the team was 5-11 in 2022 or in December of 2022. We need to get past that. But you know what? You go to the Big Apple. You got 2 days off, Matthew. You know that this team was going to come out fresh, come out crisp, and play up to the expectations that are Madison Square Garden, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. New year, same Suns. That's about it. It was disappointing, dude. What a fucking waste of time. I'm dreading watching the Suns right now. I kind of get up. I'm like, let's see if Ayton can take us to the next level or until Booker gets back. I'm just looking forward to certain things. But then as soon as the game starts and you're down 12-4 again, I'm just like, what is the point of watching this shit? Because they're not coming back.
Well, it's not even the fact that they were 12-4. It just continued to snowball upon itself. Like, I've seen 12-4. We've seen that a few times with the Phoenix Suns. Well, they'll go down 8 points. They'll go down 10, maybe even 15 points in that first quarter. And then they, over time, claw themselves back. It was really the second quarter. And for those of you who didn't watch the game, good for you. I hope you had a productive Monday. I hope you were working and you're like, you know what? I'll deal with that shit when I come home. Maybe I'll come up with the jam session guys and see what they have to say. The Suns shot like 17% from the 3-point line in the first half. They shot like 22% in the first half from the field. It was unbelievable. The second half or the second quarter, they gave up an 18-0 run. And that's when I was just like, oh, cool. Glad to be covering this one for Brightside. This is going to be fun. So I just vented. If you're bored, go read that or just watch this.
Either way. It's not very fun.
We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. So I don't know if there's even plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. We'll see what happens. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you're hanging out with us on this Monday afternoon after the Suns score a season-low 83 points in the Garden against the Knicks. Yay, Suns. So make sure you subscribe, rate, review, or don't. I don't care. I'll tell you this. I told everyone last podcast, don't give us any 5-star reviews. Fuck it. We got 2 new ones. So we'll be reading those at the end of the pod. Thank you for giving us those 5-star reviews. Do whatever you want.
Get, huh? Playing hard to get.
Yeah. Don't you threaten me with a review. But I'm going to be popping open this Huss Brewing Scottsdale Blonde. Let's start some day drinking, Matthew, because you know what? This is depressing. New year, same Suns. Pop them if you got them, Suns fans. Let's talk about this interesting little game that happened on a Monday afternoon in New York. The Suns play like dog shit in New York. But you know what, Matthew? We're going to be joined by someone who's live in the Garden. Give it up for SoSaysJ, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, boys?
You poor guy.
You know, the Garden is a fantastic experience. I'll say that much. That's all.
Season low for the Suns, man.
Oh, well, I'm getting kicked out. Hold on, sorry.
The Garden's amazing. It's a great place to watch a game. Get out of here.
That's well, to be fair, you know, here, you guys want to see? Look, see?
Oh, it's beautiful.
It really is. I mean, it's a phenomenal experience. Yeah, the Suns play like absolute dog shit. I mean, my God. I don't know what else to say besides that.
I mean, Justin from Fan of the Flames who's joined us live from the Garden. You were down there. You were close to the Suns bench. Did you hear anything? Did they have any adjustments? What did Monty do in this game?
He looked dejected a lot. Honestly, the body language on the bench didn't look that great. They looked like they came out, got blitzkrieged at the beginning of an early start, and we're just like, meh. Let's get through this game just time wise, but nothing effort wise. I mean, and shots just weren't falling. I mean, at the end of the day, what do we end up shooting? Like 20-something% from three, low 20s. They shot 40-something. We shot 30% overall, maybe. It was not a great way to start 2023. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. What were the comments from the fans out there?
You know, this lady sitting next to me, she leaned over about halfway through the second quarter and just goes, "I'm sorry about your sons." Other than that, man, like everyone's been really super cordial. I probably helped that, they came out and took an immediate lead, and I said very little throughout that entire game. There were 4 unruly fans sitting in front of us right at the beginning. Like during warm-up, started heckling CT, and Garden Security came over right off the bat and told them to calm down. And they did. They were inebriated, But hey, young kids having a good time. I'm sure I would have been like that at some point in my life. But the experience as a whole, again, is great. I mean, fans were a little subdued. Okay, hold on. I will say one thing. Julius Randle getting MVP chance when he's on like a 6 for 16 game. I mean, come on. That seems a bit much. I did hear this dude behind me constantly saying how the Suns can't do anything without Devin Booker, which is fair. But then they also started talking about how DA got, like, the Suns got a crazy trade offer for DA with Tyrese Halliburton and all this stuff. I'm like, I thought about correcting them. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in my lane here, wear my Suns hat and maintain my silence, which I think was the wise choice. And in fact, one of the guys behind me fell asleep. I shit you not, fell asleep during the game.
It was a sleeper of a game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we really blame him all that much. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we can. Well, Justin, we appreciate you hanging out and popping in real quick to say what's up from the Garden. Sounds like you're enjoying your time out there in NYC, right?
It's been a blast. Hung out, watched some football with Bloom and Flex yesterday, and just been doing a lot of wandering. Have not gotten myself in any trouble. Only ended up in like one part of town I probably shouldn't have been in, and then recognized it pretty quickly and made my way out. So I'd say overall it's been a positive trip. Yes.
Have you had some pizza?
Oh, of course I've had pizza.
So here's what you need to do.
Bodega food, all sorts of fun stuff.
So here's what you need to do.
I'm getting yelled at again.
Okay. Go over to 8th Avenue and West 31st, which is just
really close to my hotel.
Well, it's right outside the Garden. It's on like the south west corner of the Garden, across the street, caddy corner. There's some good pizza. You walk in, they just start yelling at you. They go, "What the fuck do you want?" And you're like, "Some pizza, please." They're like, "Yeah, no shit. You want a slice? You want a pie? Go enjoy it. It's good pizza."
I can't wait to get yelled at. That sounds fantastic. I look forward to that. I left Phoenix to avoid getting yelled at.
All right, brother. Well, have a good one. We'll see you when you're back in Phoenix.
Sounds good, fellas. Have a great show, boys.
Take care. See you.
Well, there you go. So says Jay, live from the Garden. Poor guy shows up there, sees the Phoenix Suns lose 102-83. Ooh, look at those new graphics you got, Matthew. Those are clean.
Yeah, so this is the final. This is the final time. All right, I had to make them more clean, and then like the thing I always had with the logos, what size should they be? They were always different. So I'm like, all right, let's just find a way to make it all even. So this should be it. This is it.
Dude, that is so sexy, so clean. Which brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, any New Year's resolutions?
No, I don't believe in that stuff. I feel like if you're gonna change, just do it right now. Just do it right now. Don't wait till the new year. You know what? A new year though, you do wake up. You're like, all right, there's some things I want to change. But if you're gonna wait till the new year to like, hey, I'm gonna work out. Hey, I'm gonna do this, this, and that. No, you just do it then. Don't wait a couple weeks for the new year. Just start. So I haven't had one of those in a while.
So a backup first question. No, same thing. So the backup first question, what was the first meal that you ate in 2023?
First meal. Can I talk about my last meal?
Sure.
My last meal was
of 2022.
Yeah,
oh,
2022.
Yeah, you bastard. You had Elmer's.
Woo! Dude, I had a bean and cheese. I had a large strips, and I had mini chimneys. The best meal I've had all year long. I'm almost like a little emotional over here talking about it. But the first meal I had was, let me think. It was actually a it was chicken and sweet potatoes. What did you have?
Well, first off, for those of you who don't know what Elmer's is, down in Chandler, I think they're off Chandler Boulevard, right?
Yeah, right across the street from Chandler High School. Yeah,
they have a place called Elmer's. They have the best Mexican food, the best strips, which is like tortilla strips or tortilla chips with beans and cheese. Their hot sauce. Oh, yeah, you're lucky you had that. My first meal of the year, it's almost like a tradition. I get Taco Bell because fuck resolutions. No.
Because of the fucking commercials, dude.
No, because I know no one's gonna be in line because everyone's like, "New year, new me." I'm like, "Hell yeah, man! I'm gonna go get me a
Yeah.
fucking burrito,
High
bro."
fiving yourself. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how good this Suns game was, folks. So we're just gonna sit here and talk about what we ate instead.
Those commercials, though, it's nonstop. Every break, there's a Taco Bell commercial on the app. So I don't know if you noticed that on your TV, but the app that I watch the games from, it's just that's all you see.
No, I don't see a bunch. We don't. I get the same. I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Yeah.
And then
The
just a lady,
best.
and then a lady crying. They're like, "This is healthcare."
like
You're like, "Oh, this is depressing," is what it is. So I'll tell you what was depressing though, Jamsters, was watching this Phoenix Suns team
Hell
play,
yeah.
and I don't know where to start. I really don't. We talked about it on the last podcast. I've talked about it on multiple podcasts this season. Like, part of me really wants to say, hey, this is a Monty issue because Monty Williams is not getting this team prepared. Monty Williams is not getting this team just ready to play basketball. And it's frustrating, and I have a challenge with that. But at the same time, like, you have to understand that the Suns are going through it right now. And I see it everywhere. And this is something it's almost kind of shocking to me, Matthew. I want to get your kind of point of view on this. It's almost shocking to me how this fan base handles losing. Because we lost all the time for 10 years. Like, you think we'd know to lose and just be like, you know what? Like, okay, this sucks, but we have to be optimistic, right? Like, all of a sudden, this team is losing again. They're struggling. They're 20-18. Okay, there's the 7th seed in the Western Conference. I believe 5 games back or 6 games back of the first overall spot. A team that was in the first overall spot a month ago is now 5 games out of number 1. And everyone thinks that James Jones needs to go because he hasn't made a move yet. Everyone thinks that Monty Williams needs to go because this team can't shoot in the first quarter. And I just think back to how Devin Booker in like the first 5 years of his career had 5 different head coaches, and how the tumultuous culture that we had for this team, and how this was not a free agent destination, and all these things that we had to suffer through as Suns fans, hoping that we would be in a moment like this where we had stability in the front office and from a coaching standpoint. And the Phoenix Suns go through one rough month, their first rough month in like 2.5 seasons, and the walls of Jericho come tumbling down. What are your thoughts on that?
It's very hard to watch. There's one thing though where you just have to look forward to Booker coming back. We have a lot more to look forward to than back then, where you just didn't know what the direction of this franchise was going. When you had Bender and you had Chris and you had Josh Jackson, those were dark days. Right now it's super, super dark, but Booker's coming back. Cameron Johnson's coming back. There's going to be a move. We have a new owner. So there's a lot that we know that's going to happen for sure. Like, there's going to be hopefully a trade. If not, then we have this team that's going to be healthy. They're probably not a contender, but they're going to win some games. They're going to get in the playoffs. They're going to be a top 6 seed for sure. That's something to look forward to. I don't think it can't be Monty's fault. Can't be James Jones' fault. They put us in this situation for 2 great seasons back to back. Now we just know what to expect. So I think it's very difficult. It's kind of like being a Patriots fan, right? You hear Bill Simmons all the time. Anytime they have a bad season or anytime that they're actually losing, it's like, but they're still they might still make the playoffs. Just you expect Super Bowls, you expect the championships, and we don't have it. You're just like, wow, this fucking sucks. Now I know what it feels like to feel like everybody else. Yeah, we're feeling like everybody else. We're feeling like a lot of these teams in the subreddit where we're just not looking forward to a whole lot. We're just kind of just cruising through these games. You want players to step up, but you have to realize, like, these aren't the players that are going to get us to the championship. We know that one's coming back for sure, but we do know that we do need some help for sure, I think.
Yeah, and I guess the way that I look at it is how so many of these same fans and members of this fan base reacted last postseason when the wheels fell apart for the Phoenix Suns in the postseason. And everybody was saying the same thing. The regular season doesn't matter. 64 wins doesn't fucking matter. So here we are going through it, taking our lumps, not peaking early, right? Like, we're not like the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that peaks early. We're not like the Phoenix Suns of last year, a team that clearly peaked early. We're going through something that, like, the Golden State Warriors went through last year. Remember? They were banged up. They were beat up. They were without Draymond for months at a time. Steph Curry was hurt. Clay was trying to come back. All these different factors were against them. Their fan base was losing their mind, probably much more justifiably so than we should have been because we've never won shit. And
Yeah.
and then it all kind of came together right before the postseason, and then they marched through the postseason. Like, I get it's January 2nd. Like, we need to take a breath here and not try to gut the front office in an effort to rectify a temporary problem. Like, you're trying to take a permanent solution to a temporary problem. The problem is we're without Devin Booker, without 27.1 points per game. We're without the guy who consistently leads this team in first quarter scoring, and not just this team. He's one of the top 5 players in the NBA in first quarter scoring. So guess what? Yeah, without him, we have an identity crisis in that first quarter. But it doesn't mean that James Jones needs to be fired because he hadn't made a move yet. You know, because these same people, it's like, okay, James Jones does make a move because everyone's like, fucking, we need to do something with Jay Crowder. We need to do it now. We need this. We need that. We need this. And we get some boneheaded asset in return. And then it's just like, well, but you made the move, just not the right one. It's just like, dude, like, these people will never be happy, probably myself included.
No, we're not gonna be happy right now. But like, James Jones is playing chess, not checkers. You keep seeing that all over Twitter, and it's totally true. You just have to wait it out. And it's very painful to watch these games because, you know, like, there's still a chance against this Knicks team where you're down by 20, you're down by 23. You still can make a run to get back in it late in the third or early in the fourth. But this team's just not built for that right now. They had two guys come back, and Shamet and Payne. Now they have to work themselves back into it. Now it's like, who the fuck are you starting? So there's always going to be questions going into every game. There's always going to be injuries. This whole season is chaos. But do remember, like you said earlier, last season didn't matter. Getting in the tournament matters. Just remember the Lakers. The Lakers are like, well, if they make the playoffs 8th seed, they still have a chance to win a championship. Think of that with the Suns. We're contenders. I don't know if it's enough right now, but if we just place ourselves there, we have a chance. And I think that's all we can ask for this season, unless there's a different direction they go. If you're going to get rid of, which is insane, we're not getting rid of James Jones or Monty Williams for years. We're going to have these guys for a while, and they're going to go through rough stretches, and you just got to support them because, you know, right now they're just not getting the most out of these players, but everyone's just kind of going through it right now. So let's just see how this kind of unfolds. And I think it's going to go in a better direction than what we think right now.
Well, and we know that what this team is right now, as constructed, even with Devin Booker healthy and Cameron Johnson healthy, is most likely not a championship level team. There's things that need to happen in order for this team to get there. There needs to be an increase in touches and usage rate and shot attempts for DeAndre Ayton. And again, this next month is an opportunity for that to happen. A move needs to happen because you have Jay Crowder, who is your starting power forward over the last 2 seasons, is not playing. Okay, that's money and an asset that currently isn't on the roster. Okay, it's like losing somebody for the entire season from a medical issue. It's the same thing. So we know as constructed that this team isn't a championship contender, and this team is also incomplete right now. So again, like, I'm just like the rest of the Suns fans. Watching this game sucked. Watching them go to New York after having 2 days rest, going against a team that's 19-18, very schizophrenic. Watching this version of the Phoenix Suns come out and play was frustrating. You want to see them hit shots. You know, it's like, here's the other side of that. It's like, it's not like they were struggling to hit shots because the defense of the Knicks was so prevalent. They were wide open. They were just missing. They were clanking everything. I mean, you take a look at the first quarter alone, and DeAndre Ayton was 3 of 6 from the field in the first quarter for the Phoenix Suns. The rest of the team was 2 of 16. You know, I mean, the team shot 22.7% in the first and 10% from beyond the arc. They were 1 of 10. They scored 11 points in the first quarter. You know, and that's like a season low. They've scored 15 points twice in a quarter this season, 11 points. And even on the other side of that, they'd only given up 23 because the Knicks shot 8 of 21 from the field and 3 of 9 from beyond the arc. So it's not like they were completely out of it after the first, but you go into the second quarter and then they continue the shitty shooting. They were 45%. They were 9 of 20 from the field, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. Meanwhile, the Knicks go for 11 of 19, which is 57.9%. The team hit, I think, like 10 of their first 10 shots or 11 of their first 11 shots, right? And they outscore the Phoenix Suns 31-20, went on an 18 run in the middle of that. And, you know, there's essentially your ball game. I mean, it's 54-31 at halftime. Yes, 31 points by the Phoenix Suns at halftime. And it's just like, you know what? That's what you get. You got Cameron Payne coming back, as you mentioned, Matthew. You have Landry Shamet coming back. It's not 2K. It's not like when the guy comes off the injury report and all of a sudden you can go out there and play him 45 minutes and he scores 50 points. Like, it just doesn't happen that way.
No, it doesn't. You can kind of see, like, in the beginning of the game, they're trying to get them into the game. Shamet, that is, because he did start. So you're trying to feed him, trying to get somebody hot, because like DeAndre can do only so much. The thing is, the way this offense is right now, and I know they missed everything. A lot of their scoring, it's like, hey, they got 4 points. They were at 4-0, and then all of a sudden it was 15-4. It's because when they miss, there's no second chance opportunities. When they miss, it seems like the Knicks already had 2 shot attempts within like their 1 possession that the Suns have. I know that doesn't make any sense, but they're just so slow right now, especially with Chris Paul kind of leading them. So there's a lot of different directions you can go with this. It's just trying to find the one to get you one win. That's the thing. It's like everything else must go until you win one game. Everyone's trying to find a way to win any of these games. As fans on Twitter, they're trying to find something, a solution, but there's really nothing right now unless they just get hot from 3, unless they can just get those second chance points and play some defense and, stop runs, stop having to call a timeout when you're down 15-4 in the first quarter, like every fucking game. So that's what's killing us. But until that happens, man, we're going to be blown out and we're going to be losing a lot of these games.
Well, here's one direction we can perhaps try.
The point guard.
So when you talk about the point guard and you take a look at his first half, Chris Paul played 15 minutes in the first half. He was 0-4 from the field. He had 0 points and 1 total assist. He also had 1 steal. Matthew, I'll ask you this. At what point do we start Cameron Payne instead?
Right now.
Right now. Let's go.
Yeah, you
I'm
have
with
to.
you.
And if you just want Chris Paul to start the game and then like you get the tip ball. And if Ayton controls it, then call a timeout and then sub
bring in Cameron
back
Payne.
in. That's all you can do, because right now the offense is just kind of slow. And I know like we missed everything tonight, but the pace is just so much better with Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne can go in there and miss three straight shots, 3 straight layups, but there's going to be more attempts within 5 minutes than what Chris Paul can give you. Because then Chris Paul just defers to other guys. And it's like, okay, Mikal, okay, Ayton, try to get a bucket. No. Like they can't run the offense through them right now. You just can't do it. It's not working. Cameron Payne looks like especially tonight, it looked like he wants to step up and be that guy. I think it's a tough decision, but there was a poll today on Twitter. Someone asked, who would you rather have, Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook? Wow. Like, wouldn't you think it would be Chris Paul?
Yeah,
no, because now people are saying Westbrook because he's accepting the backup role.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I think Chris Paul has to do for now until we can get Booker back or something, but Cameron Payne has to be the guy. I mean, it was 2 playoffs ago where we kind of wanted him to be in a way just because the offense wasn't as fluent and there wasn't really the whole lot of pace there. Right now, Cameron Payne can give you that. So let's see how that works. Nothing against Chris Paul, but we do need to change their starting point guard.
Well, Cameron Payne obviously this is his first game back after missing 9 games with a foot injury. So while I agree that this team probably should at some point experiment and say, hey, listen, CP3, like, you have to buy in to the fact that we're going to need you for a deep playoff run, and we need you as healthy as possible. And starting isn't always necessarily what we need. We need less minutes from you, essentially. And Monty can approach that 2 different ways. He can approach it the spine way, the I have cojones way, and go to Chris Paul and be like, hey, you're on the bench now. Okay, we're going to have you start to run some sets with the second team unit, but Cameron Payne, with the explosiveness that he brings, with the pace that he brings, and we saw this plenty earlier this year, Suns fans, so don't act like I'm talking out one side of my mouth. This team was the first overall seed when Chris Paul was injured and Cameron Payne was running point. And we were all kind of wondering it back then. It's like, you know what? Maybe it's just okay to start. Chris Paul's 38 years old.
Yeah.
The pace of play that he plays with is something that is one. It's been hard to watch for a couple seasons, but it's been effective. But it's not even as effective anymore. Now, granted, as I mentioned, he had 0 points and he had 1 assist at halftime. He ends the game with a total of 11 points and 2 assists. So he really, 4 of 11 from the field. I'm not going to sit there and say Cameron Payne needs to start based on the merit of this game. This is a dog shit game for anybody. You don't make any decisions with this game. We've talked about in the past, literally taking a game and rolling up into a ball and throwing a trash can, like that is this game. But I agree with you that Cameron Payne, at some point, I highly recommend the Phoenix Suns exploring, just trying to allow him some opportunity to start and to run the pace of play for this game and for this team.
Yeah, it would be the best decision for the team. And it's not like he's going to come out next game if we do start Cameron Payne and we're going to win the game, but it gets us a better opportunity. We're not going to be in these big holes in the first quarter. That's what's killing us. It's just the holes we get in. Like
holes, man.
I mean, if they're trying to find someone that's hot and it's not working, that's fine. If you're going to miss like 3 out of 10 shots or something to start the game, or you went 3 for 10 or 3 for 12, whatever, to start the game.
The Suns were 2 of 12 to start the game.
12.
And Ayton was like 2 of 4, you know?
Yeah,
so, I mean,
and you
the rest
can't
of the
blame
team
that on Chris Paul. But you're going to get more attempts. You're going to get guys in better rhythm if you're running through Cameron Payne, because he's hitting people in stride. He saw it in the third quarter. It looked pretty good.
Well, to that point with Cameron Payne.
Here comes the Payne.
Does Cameron Payne? Oh, there it is. There's his little thing.
Yeah.
Cameron Payne in this game, again, first game back, plays a total of 18 minutes, has 8 points, has 7 assists, 3 of 7 from the field, although I liked his shot selection. And you'll hear me probably say that multiple times on this podcast. Like, I liked a lot of the Suns' shot selection. They just simply weren't falling. But Cameron Payne was a plus 19 in this game. You know, everybody else, like Chris Paul was a team low negative 38 in this game. Cameron Payne
Holy shit.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Negative 38. Like, again, I'm not huge on plus minus, but like negative 38 is kind of saying something right
that
there.
Stuck out. You didn't even lose the game by 38. Like, you know, oh my God.
And Cam Payne was a plus 19, you know? So,
yeah.
You know, again, I think that performances like this, seeing him play with that pace of play, especially coming off an injury, like he's only going to get stronger. We got to wait 5 games. We got to wait. You know, I always say it takes about 5 games for a player who's been injured, him, Landry Shamet as well, to really start to get their stride and have consistent play. He's going to be sporadic. I understand that. But he's garnered some starting minutes, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like the way he was playing tonight in the second half, he was kind of showing off, being like, okay, this is how it can look, because he was slinging the ball around really quick, but he was pushing the pace, so where he was throwing it to Ish Smith or Lee in the corner from half court, like beyond half court, to just really get a shot off. It's like, that's what I'm saying, the more attempts. You're starting out 2 of 12. I know you already said it. I think 3 of 12, whatever. You're starting out, but you're going to have more attempts. You're going to get guys in rhythm because you're going to keep pushing the pace. You're not going to be like, okay, Shamet missed 2 in a row. He's not going to see the ball again for a while. You know what I mean? You got to move around, do some screens. No, but with Payne, even after a make, he can push the pace. But it seemed like tonight, man, I think he kind of knows, like, this might be my time to step up and just show Monty, like, we can score some points quick. We're not going to be down by 10 or 12 points in the first quarter if you just have me running point. And I'm saying this now, but if Payne does start, seriously, it doesn't mean that we're going to not be down by 12 points in the first quarter to a good team. I'm just saying that he gives us a better opportunity for sure.
And that's where I agree with you. Again, like, Chris Paul can play the crunch time minutes at the end of the game. But the thing that, as you mentioned, the thing that is killing the Phoenix Suns right now are those first quarters. And if Cameron Payne can run some pace and give us some better opportunities and some better looks, then this team can maybe not be down so much. I mean, what did you tweet out? Like, the Suns are down by 20 for the 15th time in a row this season or something?
Yeah, they were down by 15 to 4. It's always like 12 to 4 or 15 to 4 in the first for the 20th straight game.
Yeah, it's what it feels like, you know. So again, like, the Suns' shot selection was fine today. They just weren't knocking them down. But there's been other situations in which it isn't fine. And then again, you have one team that's coming out sprinting, and they're focused and they have the energy. And then you have like Chris Paul and the Suns who are like rolling the ball up the court, barely getting it across the half court line.
1984 out there.
Yeah, you know, and then he'll sit there and he'll waste 15 seconds of a possession, and then it's a one and done, and then they run it down our throats again, and then it's the same. It's just like, it just doesn't make sense. And, you know, I've always talked in the past about imposing your will as a basketball team. If you're a quality basketball team, you know how to impose your will. And the Phoenix Suns think that by slowing the game down and playing with that pace with Chris Paul, that it's their version of imposing their will. But all it does is it lulls their own team to sleep on both ends. Like, DeAndre Ayton, it's halfway through the first quarter, and he's sitting there, he's like rubbing sleep out of his eyes. Like, oh shit! Like,
yeah, you gotta get him going, dude. I feel like that's something Payne can do. And like, and when Shamet misses, it's like shit. Like, it's like, well, that's it. We'll see you in another half hour till we get another attempt. It's like, please make it. Oh, you missed it. Damn. I'm gonna go make a sandwich or something. By the time we get another possession, dude.
How many sandwiches do you make? Are you a big sandwich maker?
I'm not, but I did have one today. I don't have any bread or anything like that ever at my house, my apartment. So if someone has some sandwich making tools, I'll make a sandwich at someone else's house.
Well, tools, you need like bread and cheese and meat. And I had a hot dog. I had multiple hot dogs today for lunch, and they were delicious.
Oh no, we're not gonna have that talk where we support.
No.
This hot dog sandwich.
We're not gonna go into the whole debate, if you will. Now, Jamsters, I know you want to know this. Somebody's wife is watching the podcast, and they think Matthew looks like somebody. And we're going to talk about who that somebody is after this word from DraftKings.
You looking to make some cold, hard cash? Visit the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet just $5 pregame moneyline on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Who doesn't love a good same-game parlay? Download the app now, sign up with code TBPN, place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code TBPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Win enough money, and who knows, Jamsters, maybe we can buy the franchise from Robert Sarver.
So New Hope Manny in the chat says, my wife says, Lissy looks like Vanilla Ice, LOL.
I've never heard that before. I was just on the comments, Fred Durst, so I just look like white trash, I guess. I am white trash. I don't know. Vanilla Ice isn't bad, though. I'll take that one. He was a pop star, so...
Yeah, he's doom.
Now he's in Adam Sandler movies. That's all he does. He's just always in Adam Sandler movies.
Oh man, Black Sunday in the super chat. Thank you ever so much for donating $5 to the podcast. We really appreciate it. I'll tell you what, Jamsters, it ain't easy coming on after these kind of losses, but we do it because we love to talk to Suns and we love hanging out with you guys. So we appreciate the $5 in the super chat from Black Sunday. He says, why when Payne and Sham come back, Dwayne Washington Jr. rots on the bench until the fourth when we're down 25.
Oh, dude.
Now, here's something interesting about this. I love that Black Sunday brings this up. So, first off, I'm going to get Dwayne Washington Jr. his love. I'm going to give him a little bit of a shout out.
I'm not the one who just got butt fucked on national TV, Dwayne.
Washington.
But with Dwayne Washington, here's what's funny about the Suns. Here's how dire the Suns are right now. When we watch the first half and this team's getting boat raced by the New York fucking Knicks, Suns, rightfully so, are asking, where are our two-way players? Because both Ish Wainwright and Dwayne Washington Jr., I don't know about you, Matthew, but at halftime, I'm like, where are these guys? Dwayne Washington Jr. is an instant bucket, and Ish Wainwright provides the physicality that we need to stop somebody like Julius Randle.
Yeah, I thought this was going to come up, and I knew it would because I was looking at the bench, and I saw him. I'm like, dude, why is he not in here trying to get hot already? I knew the Jamsters were going to bring it up because it's a thing where, if you lose this game by 20 points and you're already being blown out in the first half, you need someone to get hot. They were trying to do it with Shamet or whoever was out there, Lee too. But Washington's proved so much this year to where he can be that guy right away. I don't know why you wait. I don't know what the thing is with these minutes. Maybe Monty, the best thing I can say is maybe he just forgets. Maybe he forgets that Washington Jr. is there on the bench, and he's like, "Oh shit, you know what? I did forget about you. Let me see if this works." Because he comes in, he doesn't give a fuck. Like he'll just jack it up, and that's what we needed. We just needed some guys to get hot from three because nothing else was working. Nothing in the paint. We didn't score one bucket in the paint. I feel like so he would have been perfect. And Ish, these are guys that want to fucking win. I said it last pod. Him and Ish, like they're trying to make plays out there. They're trying to do something. And I just think that you got to get him more minutes, especially to start the game off.
Well, and again, like I understand that Monty Williams goes, okay, I've got Landry Shamet starting at the 2-guard position in this game. This is an opportunity for him to play some minutes and start that process, that 5-game process, as I mentioned before, on getting his legs underneath him, on getting back to true NBA conditioning, which will allow for consistency. And I understand the same thing with Cameron Payne. Shamet plays 25 minutes, 6 points, 2 of 9 from the field. Cameron Payne, as we mentioned before, 18 minutes, 8 points, 3 of 7 from the field, but also had the 7 assists. But that being said, I feel like there has to be some sense of urgency with Monty Williams in a game to say, hey, we're down 15 points right now. We're down, and then boom, somebody hits a three. Okay, we're down 18 points. For a 5-minute stretch, I'm going to bring in Dwayne Washington Jr., who I know is a walking bucket. Now, granted, Dwayne ends up getting 12 total minutes. He goes 4-9 from the field and scores 10 points and gets 3 rebounds and an assist in those 12 minutes. I mean, he's an instant bucket, and Monty's like, no, dude. We got to be down 40 or at least 32 for you to come in the game. And again, it's just like that's where I have frustrations relative to some of Monty's coaching decisions. As you said, like, you've heard the story about like the finger in the dike, right? Where you have a dike and you put a finger in it to stop it from leaking, and then it pops. I know it sounds highly inappropriate, but it does these days. But essentially what it is like you're trying to stop a dike from breaking, and so you put your fingers in all the different holes to try to stop it, but it's just like there's like 6 holes over here, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna let that part break.
What's a dike? Do you mean a dam?
It's the same thing. A dike is in Amsterdam.
Oh,
you're so uneducated.
This is just as old as Chris Paul offense right now. What we're talking about.
Melissa's with you. She's like, I was so confused. And then Coda Kid's like, oh, nasty. You guys know finger in the dike thing?
I haven't heard that ever.
Finger in the dam. There you go. Finger in the dam. Okay. But again, like there's so many things that are kind of going wrong all at once. And then Monty Williams just isn't. He's like, I'm just going to sit and watch it burn, baby.
Exactly. Do you think he does? Because I feel like when the Knicks are up to 12-4, maybe he call timeout then, not wait till it's 15-4. It just seems like everything's just like taking too long. Like he doesn't realize what's really happening till a second or even a minute too late.
He's just too busy just like having that look of bewilderment.
Yeah, him and DA make the weirdest faces when they're just like, oh, they always are there.
But yeah, I think that it's definitely worth exploring, much akin to Cameron Payne starting. And again, like it's sad that we're at this point right now, but as you mentioned earlier, Matthew, like you're going to start exploring all these different options when you consistently are losing the way that you're losing to such bad teams. You're going to try to say, okay, what would I do? As an uneducated basketball savant who just likes to watch and bitch from his couch, while I'm slamming hot dogs on a Monday afternoon.
Yeah, but Dwayne, he is a fan favorite. I think a lot of people ask over Twitter, like, who would you rather have start, him or Shamet? I mean, Shamet's nice, but like Dwayne's a guy you can just count on to do multiple things. He's not going to really – he can't stop Brunson or like put a stop on him at all. But he can at least try, and he fucking tries really hard out there. And that's what I just want to see someone try out there in these games.
Well, that's the challenge. It's like you feel like the effort's not there, and it's just it's really frustrating. So if you go to writingexplained.org, it says finger in the dike meaning definition to try to stop an approaching problem or to try to stop a small problem from becoming a large problem. Exactly what I was talking about. Boom, shakalaka. I feel happy with myself.
Watch.
I can't wait to just read some Twitter comments later, because
finger the dike.
These new graphics are awesome, by the way.
Well, thank you, dude. I knew you would like these ones because they're nice and clean, and
I like
it.
I like edges.
I was getting too crazy, like weird. I'm like, let's just make it simple.
I believe when it comes to graphic design, I believe in KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. But DeAndre, I can't wait to read Twitter later today. Because it'll happen. It's 3:56 Arizona time. We'll finish the podcast. We'll post it on the audio feed. We'll go about with our days. I'll take the dogs for a walk, and then I'll come back later and I'll be sitting around. And then I'll pop on Twitter, and then like you'll see this whole mob of people who've got like pitchforks and flames. They're just gonna like somehow, some way blame this loss on DeAndre Ayton. And I'll say a lot of things, man. This game sucked ass. And you look at DeAndre Ayton, right? 12 points, had 5 rebounds. He was 6 of 13 from the field. There's no way, shape, or form you pin this one on DA. Is there?
No, I mean it's a team loss, but he's part of the team. Things I always talk about where the last few pods where I just want him to step up and win a game for us. I want to see what that looks like. I mean, I've been saying that for forever. he doesn't play as hard unless, he has people surrounding him or teams surrounding him that, make an effort to. And he wasn't tonight. I think it was nicer to see Jock out there, even when Jock and Sarge were out there, because you were going to get some guys that are going to like try to fuck shit up. You're not going to get that.
The great white front court.
Yeah. That's a great nickname.
They're so bad too together.
It's not that pretty, but it's like, I don't care. I want something to happen. I'm not blaming this on Ayton. I don't know, man. It looks so good in the first quarter. I thought he started off the game pretty good. He was 2 for 3.
He was the only one.
He was the only one. Exactly. And I don't know where to go with this. I hate that I still fucking I lay there at night or even in this morning. I have so much hate for this guy when it comes to on the court advantages that he has. I'm just like, I hate that he doesn't even get a board like in the first quarter, first half, things like that. But I don't know. I don't fucking know what to do. I don't know, because I just want him to be awesome, and I just want him to win this game.
I do too, and I'll tell you this. Obviously, I wrote a piece for Bright Side of the Sun this week talking about how the opportunity lies before DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams, with Devin Booker out for the next 4 weeks, to just change the way that we operate, right? To feed DA. Like this is your chance. This is your chance to go for 4 weeks. We're gonna run everything through DA, and it should be on the board when you walk in the locker room. DA shoots the ball 25 times this game. That's what they should do for 4 weeks. So when Booker comes back, you've now added that wrinkle to your offense, right? So I wrote this whole piece. And then this morning, every week I put out a piece on brightsideofthesun.com called Center of the Sun, where essentially what I do is every week, every Monday it comes out. It's a recap of the previous week. Hey, here's who we played. Here's some highlights. Here's some quotes. Here's some statistics. And I let off the whole thing talking about, DeAndre Ayton and going, hey, listen, I put out this piece talking about what needs to happen. Will it happen? And I go, no, it won't happen. It's just not in DA's DNA. It's not in Coach Monty. Monty's got a grudge against him or something, but maybe he knows something that we don't, or something that we have observed over the past 5 seasons, is that DA just doesn't have that motor. He doesn't have that gene. He doesn't have that Booker and Chris Paul killer gene. Give me the ball at the end of the game fucking gene. Like, DA just doesn't have it. And that's okay. That's who he is. Do we want him to be that? No. But is that who he is? Yes. Okay. Now, that being said, even in a game like this, like, I can't fault DA. The team was just missing everything. Okay. You knew coming into this game that this is a team that's more physical. They have Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle on the interior. We have DeAndre Ayton and Torrey Craig. Guess what? Advantage to them. They're a team that rebounds better than we do. They're a team that attacks the glass better than we do. They're a team that attacks the rim better than we do. They get to the line 5th most in the NBA. The Suns allow like the 3rd most or the 2nd most free throw attempts in the NBA. So it's like all these things, when you talk about the interior, this is a game where if you look at it on paper, you go, this is just not a DA game. And he still, in my opinion, came out and gave the effort and was trying his best to try to carry this team as much as he could, knowing that he couldn't box anybody out, and that they weren't going to feed him necessarily as much as they should. But he was trying to set the tone early, but no one would get on his back and no one could shoot their way to help him, to allow him to be more effective throughout the game. Because once you get down 18, your whole game plan goes out the window. You're not shooting the ball from the interior consistently. You're chucking threes.
Yeah, and I think that when you're watching him, after the first quarter, where you're just kind of like, he needs that leader, he needs someone to push him. You just always need that. So you don't expect it, because you don't expect him to come in and make a difference, because that is not who he is. And I don't even know how many times we have to watch the pregame show or whatever, where Tom and Tom still say the same shit after 5 years. It's like, we've seen it in you, DA. Come on, you can do it. And Tom Chambers like, yeah, I want to see him do that spin move and a dunk. It's like, he doesn't do that shit. He's not that guy. And it's so irritating to watch, because even on box outs and stuff, dude, I'm telling you, man, I know, what's his name? Who's he guarding? Mitchell.
Yeah.
Mitchell's maybe a couple inches taller, longer. But, dude, the effort that DA puts in trying to box him out, I'm sorry. I know it's not his fault we lost this game, but I'm just sick of seeing this shit, dude. I was even thinking that today. I'm like, Jalen Smith, why do we give up on him when we try to – I mean, I know no one wants DA. The league doesn't want DA, but we're stuck with him. But like a guy like Jalen Smith, we wouldn't take the time to develop him, but we had to develop DA, because I just feel like Jalen Smith picked up on stuff way quicker than Ayton's doing right now. And I know Ayton's a better player overall, but just picking up on stuff and consistently just doing it game to game, Jalen Smith was that guy, I feel like, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with
I
you.
know.
I don't disagree. I just don't think that I can use this game and my argument,
No,
my
I know.
continual argument
Yeah.
as to why DA just doesn't have it in him. I do like something that the Aussies Suns fan podcast quoted. He said, "My favorite tweet today: Ayton has to go. Robinson is out there demolishing us." Ayton was on the bench at the time.
Well, it depends when you read the tweet, right? It depends when you read it.
Well, I mean, you look at what Mitchell Robinson ended up doing tonight, and we knew this coming in. We knew that he was going to be a handful, as he has been in the past. He was only 5 of 7 from the field, but he had the 10 points, he had the 10 rebounds, and then Julius Randle, man, 28 points, 16 rebounds. Jalen Brunson, 24 points, and he had 6 assists. So combined, they had 52 points. The Phoenix Suns starters, I think, ended with 41 or 43. Their entire starters. And there it goes. I mean, that's the challenge. We don't talk enough about it sometimes, and we'll talk about it once again. The award. 4 of 11 in this game from Mikal Bridges. He had 10 points, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. 8 of those points came in the first half. 8 of his 10. Call him the warden, right? I'm honestly thinking about doing this, Matthew. Tell me what you think. Jamsters, if you're watching along live and you're hanging out in the chat, maybe you can tell me if I'm crazy for suggesting this. But it's a beautiful drop that we have. Mikal Bridges, the warden, a little Merle Haggard. Would you ever consider changing his nickname to the Magician or Houdini or like Chris Angel, because Mikal Bridges just disappears sometimes?
Chris Angel. Yeah, I would say right now, do it. Like Cameron Payne starting now, do it. Yeah, the warden is not. That's why it's so weird to have it. The warden, Mikal Bridges. It's like he hasn't been this year. I mean, he hasn't because of the injuries. He's had to pick up other things on the court offensively. And I think it just takes too much away from his defensive game because you don't notice him. He just looks so small out there compared to everybody. So I don't know what he's been doing, man. I agree with you.
I'm thinking of doing it. I think we're going to start a trend here on the Suns Jam Session and call him like the Magician or something, and everyone's like, what? Why? It's like, because the motherfucker disappears, dude. Maybe have you ever seen The Prestige?
Yeah.
Okay. The Christopher Nolan movie, right? With Hugh Jackman and who's the other magician in it?
Hugh Jackman and it was
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, we should call him the Prestige, because that's the one. The whole trick is he's the vanishing man, right? At the end of the whole trick. Yeah, that's a great. I might look into that because it happens too consistently. And Mikal Bridges, we've talked about this. I know Dave King and I were texting about it last night. Because again, I submitted my piece last night, and obviously I was kind of trashing DA in it a little bit, and he's just like, dude, it just makes me so mad that everyone trashes DA and no one trashes Mikal. I'm like, you're not wrong, dude. Like, Mikal Bridges.
Come on, dude.
My whole argument with Dave is price for value paid, right? The guy gets paid like what, $21 million a year. He's not a max player, so it's almost a bargain with Mikal Bridges relative to what you're paying him. For a fourth best option, right? You're paying him fourth best option money. He's paid the 4th highest on the team, and he's your 4th best player. He's technically your 3rd because Chris Paul's just done. But I mean, Ozzy, you're right, Ozzy's, Gavin, you're right. We have to remove the expectation that Mikal is an offensive weapon, which is unfortunate because that's the one thing you need from this team. One of many things you need for this team is you need a wing scorer who can consistently put up like 20 points at least. Look at all the successful teams in the NBA right now. Okay. Let's just go ahead and take a look at some NBA standings. You go to the Denver Nuggets. Okay. They've got obviously Nikola Jokic. They got Jamal Murray. You got MPJ. MPJ had a shit game against us, but he's scoring like 18 a game. The Memphis Grizzlies, they got wing scores. The New Orleans Pelicans, all they are wing scores. The Dallas Mavericks, they've got wing scores. The Clippers, wing scores. The team that sits above us in the standings, Matthew, the Sacramento Kings. I don't know if they have wing scores.
Mikal, he's a filler though. He's not going to be. He's always a guy. Even at the last 2 seasons, he would always end the games with those steals and dunks. Get the crowd into the last 5 minutes. He would show up. He's just like the filler. He's a finisher. He's that guy to just fill the holes and then finish out the game for you. So this is a lot to ask. Even Cameron Johnson was talking about it before the game, where he did say, of course, he's like, Mikal has to he's stepping up, but there's just so much for him to actually have to fill. It's just basically too much for him, and I think that's true. And there was like a redraft. These guys were doing this redraft. I forget where it was from, but it was like they drafted Mikal for the 2018. They drafted Mikal 5. They drafted DA 6. So we're saying that Mikal's more of a known presence than DA right now. That's why we get pissed off about DA, because if you do a redraft, he's not going to go till 5 or 6 because you have SGA in there. You have Trey Young. You know what I mean? So that's you have 2 guys that we could have gotten that draft. That's what's the frustrating part over Ayton that are going ahead now in the redrafts. So that's why people get frustrated, because Mikal, who gives a fuck like where he's at? Like, he's a filler, he's a finisher guy, but that's why we get frustrated with DA. So
we get frustrated with Mikal right now because without Devin Booker, there should be, you hope that a guy who is getting paid the 4th most on your team is providing some consistent semblance of offensive production. He just doesn't do that. I think that's where my frustration comes. That's where my frustration comes from. So, Subreddit Stakeout, you think it's that time? Were you hanging out?
Yeah.
Were you hanging out in New York with SoSaysJ?
Oh yeah.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
All right, Jamsters, you know the drill. We hang out on the subreddit of the opposing team. We like to hear what their fans think of their team and of our team. So, Matthew, Happy New Year. You were hanging out in New York with SoSaysJ on the subreddit Stakeout.
Yeah.
What'd they say?
It's loud down here. We were eating pizza. There's a
Mm.
taxi cab just ran over SoSaysJ. So
Forget about it.
They're saying first quarter Randall. I miss first quarter Book. I miss that so much.
I know.
I guess they have a nickname for him too. He's Mr. First Quarter. He's
and to that point,
over there.
If you remember, he only scored 9 points against the Phoenix Suns the first time we played them. He scored 11 points in the first quarter this time. Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And the burner is back. Jalen Brunson, the Brunson burner, came back for this game, and he was unstoppable. This guy it's kind of quiet, but at times when you need to stop, he's going to make the pass. He's going to make the driving layup, get to the free throw line. He is unstoppable. He's a guy that the Mavericks should probably still have on their team.
Yeah, he fits great next to Luka.
Yeah,
it's exactly what they're missing.
Sure. Laugh my ass off. Did Bridges really just talk shit to the bench after hitting that? So the corner 3 in the second quarter,
1-3,
we're down by like 30, and he points. He does that pointing thing. So should we still allow that? Is that just as bad as you dancing before the game starts on the court with DA? Like, it's just kind of weird, right? You haven't won anything, and you're down by 30.
Yep. I agree.
Suns look like they just want to fast forward for 2 hours. Totally true. Guys, go to FanDuel right now and bet. Oh, sorry, DraftKings, but this guy said FanDuel. Bet the Knicks blowing the lead. You'll not be disappointed. Happy New Year. So the Suns had chances, I felt like, in that game to really get back into it. Just never happened, obviously.
I didn't feel they had
really. I thought they were gonna. If they put some effort, I think they could have went back into it, because the Knicks blow leads, and it would have been. I don't know, man. Who gives a fuck now? I guess Mikal should have been a Knick, so I guess the Knicks are big fans of Mikal, and that's as long as I stayed in there. I was like, all right, I'm done.
They're like, get out of here!
Get out of here!
Bring you son of a bitch!
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
I'm glad you survived, Matthew. I've been to New York. I've been to Madison Square Garden. I got to see the Harlem Globetrotters play there, so I didn't get to see a Knicks game. But brutal people, man. They can be really honest. So I'm glad you survived, and I'm glad that you could stick around and watch us hand out some hardware.
Jam star of the game.
It's a reminder, Jamsters, to subscribe, rate, and review. And if you're watching along live, who's your Jam star? Matthew, who goes first this time?
You.
Ah, shit. I have to pick somebody.
Who has the most points?
DA with 12. DA
So
had 12.
fucking stupid.
Bridges had
12
10.
points.
Dwayne Washington Jr. had 10.
Jeez.
Damian Lee had 10.
What are you?
Ish and Cameron Payne had 8. Oh, man. Yeah, let's see. I'll give it to SoSaysJ.
All right. Yeah.
He gets my jam star for I don't know if you saw his seats, man, but he was sitting like 3 rows deep on the baseline, man. He had some nice seats. He was right next to Suns bench. Probably had a blast at that game. Just the experience was probably awesome. The game itself sucked. You know, I've been to that one. I've been to TD Garden. I've been to where the Kings play, and obviously where the Suns play. Those are the 4 stadiums I've been to. And whenever you walk into like an opposing arena, it feels really cool. It's a cool feeling because you're so used to seeing the Suns arena. And so just feeling that, especially the mecca of basketball. SoSaysJ, you're my jam star.
Yeah. Was he by himself? He
Yeah.
didn't go with his family
No.
to New York?
I think he's on work or something. I don't know what he's doing.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
left
it
the
makes
kids
sense.
at
If you
home.
go to Boston and then you go to New York, probably work.
Yeah.
If you guys care, I'm gonna give it to Dwayne Washington. He
Ooh.
came in and gave us a little spark, and then maybe it's a little bit of Cameron Payne, just because it's good to see him back running that offense. He looked pretty good.
There you go. There you
Down
go,
by 20.
Jamsters. Down by 20. Well, up next for the Phoenix Suns, they're going to the land. They're going to the Believe land. They're going to Cleveland, ladies and gentlemen. And a couple things. One, they will be wearing their City Edition jerseys. We actually play Cleveland twice in the next 3 games. We play Cleveland, we come home, we play Miami, then we play Cleveland again. The Suns will be winning the City Edition jerseys in both Cleveland games. Do you feel that the Cleveland fans are going to feel gypped because that's the only version of the Suns they get to see this year?
I guess so. I feel gypped because I just don't like any of these uniforms right now. I hate all of them. We're gonna look back on the season and be like, yes, the sunbursts were nice, but we're like, God,
The
dude,
Sunbursts are really nice.
this was rough. This was just a rough year with uniforms. I feel like it's just really
Well, tell me what you think of this game.
Oh, it's going to be interesting, right? It depends who plays. We hope. The reason I'm saying that is I hope someone's out because right now Donovan Mitchell's on an MVP tear. In a way, no one wants to hear that, but come on, this team, they were good, but now they're 4th seed right now in the East. They're a team that shoots, rebounds, plays defense. They do all of it, so it's gonna be very painful to watch. He's averaging 28 points per game right now.
Yep.
You have bigs down there. Mobley was day-to-day, so I don't know if he's going to play. But if that's the case, if you have Mobley and then you have
Jared Allen,
woo, watch we end up winning it. We're going to get some kind of crazy DA game. But right now, it's not. It's going to be painful to watch.
Well, Low Sun says in the chat, he goes, another big team. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have the best defensive rating in the NBA, and they allow the fewest points in the NBA. You're going against a team that literally just shot, 27% from beyond the arc and 39.1% from the field. A team that doesn't know how to open games right now, that shot 22.7% from the field in the first quarter. And you're going to be going against a team that is defensively inclined. They got the hustle. Right, Donovan Mitchell, he has the hustle right now. He's got a reason to hustle, and that's what we're seeing from him. So this is going to be a challenging game for this Phoenix Suns team. It's a 4 p.m. start. Is that right, Matthew? 4 or 5?
4 o'clock. Well, it says 7 o'clock Eastern. So
that's 5 o'clock our time.
Is it 2 hours ahead? Oh yeah, 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, so 5 o'clock our time.
Okay.
So at least we get it out of the way again. I don't see us winning this game. Do you?
No, not at all.
Well, that's nice. So we got that going for us, which is nice. So, Jamsters, a reminder again, thank you for hanging out with us. Hit that thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. We did get a couple of those, and I wanted to recognize those today. So the first one is from Abev, says, fun post-game podcast. Love the show, guys. I watch it on YouTube, but thought you deserved another review. Thanks for the fun content. You make the losses a little more tolerable. We were having plenty of those this year. So thanks, Abev, and thanks for watching on YouTube and then taking the time to go to Apple Podcasts simply to write a review. And then the other one is from Levictus069. And the title of this one's because John drank water. Because there was the one pod where I'm like, fuck it, I'm just drinking water. He says, I'm just here for the Lysiisms. Been listening to almost every episode for the last 2 years. You guys have helped me through some dark times with a laughter and a sense of community. Keep doing what y'all doing, no matter what Dave King says about you.
Oh, that's nice.
I will say this.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, Lissy is. I'll say this. Is that is the 5-0 showing up to get Lissy? No one probably heard that. Only I can hear because I have headphones on. Every podcast has a John Voida. Only one has Matthew Lissy and has Lissyisms. So thank you for that, Matthew Lissy. And thank you again to the Levictus 069.
Who else has a John Voida? What are you talking about?
Everybody has a John Voida.
Well, it's always like you have like you're like the Ryan Russillo and I'm like the what's the name? Cousin or nephew Kyle or something. You know what I mean? You always have to have the other dude that's not like the other. So it's the same as every podcast.
But everyone has a John Voida. There's only one Matthew Lissy. So on that note, Jamsters, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. We appreciate the fact that it's 4:18 and we're almost done. And I'm going to go walk the dogs, So let's go have a life outside of the Phoenix Suns. So, make sure you follow the show at Suns Jam on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can find me on Twitter and all of my very frustrated tweets because I just talk shit all the time at Darth Voida. You can read my writing where I'm also talking shit at brightsideofthesun.com. You can follow Matthew Lissy. And on that note, Chancers, we'll see you on Wednesday about 7 o'clock Arizona time or something like that after another loss. So have a good weekend.
Yep. Go home and walk your family.
Walk them around the block.